Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Brandon Oliver. I am with Arcwood Financial. We are more than likely your advisors and consultants for your employer's group retirement plan. One of my main roles here is to provide education and advice to everyone who participates in those plans, but also one of our goals is to just spread and help with other financial wellness topics as they relate to other areas. Today, I'm doing one of my videos on saving and budgeting basics. Specifically, I'm going to cover budgeting. More specifically, I'm going to go over an example of how to create a budget and actually how to do that and some of the benefits and reasons somebody should have a budget. The truth of the matter is the majority of Americans don't have a budget, and because of that fact, most of us actually spend more than we make. However, a lot of us don't know how much more because we haven't done a budget, right? So I want to dig into this. We'll get to the reasons and the benefits of it kind of after, but I want to jump right into creating a budget. Obviously, there's a lot of different options to create a budget. There's a lot of apps. I'll talk about those later. There's free spreadsheets everywhere if you like to do Excel and you're really into numbers and formulas like I am. But also there's a ton of great just like paper and pencil PDF budgets available. Today I am using Dave Ramsey's Smart Dollar monthly cash flow plan. This will be linked right underneath the video for you to download and print yourself, but it's also, you can Google it and really find it anywhere. So let's jump right in. All right, one nice thing about the Smart Dollar monthly cash flow plan, it's a monthly budget you fill in every month before you go out and spend the money for the month, is right off the bat, all the steps I'm about to go over right now are here. It tells you exactly how to do all of this if, well, you get tired of listening to me or you forget by the time you get around to it. It's all right on page 1 of the PDF. So how do we get started? First, it's the easy part, right? You take your monthly take-home pay and put it in the top right-hand corner. This is the easy part, right? Most of us know how much we make. We just don't know how much we spend. This will be your take-home. So this will be after taxes, FIDA, FUTA, Social Security, any kind of benefits premiums that are going out, and maybe, hopefully, right, 401k contributions. So put that in there, yours and your spouse's in the top right-hand column. Then after that, what you'll see is there's all these different categories. So we have categories like charity, food, clothing, savings, housing, transportation, insurances. A big one for a lot of people is going to be debts, the car payments, etc. You know, some of these you might not use at all, right? You might not have charitable contributions at this point in your life. You might not be able to be making contributions towards your savings. If you don't have anything in a category, just skip it. Also, there's a lot of lines here. There's a lot of rows. If you don't have anything going towards one of these rows, just skip it. Conversely, if there's something you feel falls into a category that you know is a major expense for you, add it in there, right? Cross out one of the ones you're not using, just write it in pen and add it in. And then this is exactly what you do. You'll be going through every single section and you'll be putting in all of your expenses that you know you have to pay for next month. And you'll start at the beginning and work your way all the way through. There's a couple different ways to do this, right? This is right where we get to that first fork in the road. You can pull out all of your statements, right? You'll need your checking account, savings statements. Maybe you'll need your pay stub, your mortgage statement, etc. And you can use all those bills and statements and stuff to enter all of these budget categories. The other option you can do, which is a little easier at first, but still comes with the second part anyhow, is you can guess at it the first time through, right? If this is your first time making a budget and you're super confident you know how much you're spending, maybe your first time you go through this, just guess all the categories. But then right after, you're still gonna have to go through and look at these expenses and get them right, because you want to be spending the right amount for the next month. Something you'll notice here, Dave Ramsey's has this, and all the other financial gurus, financial wellness gurus, any other budgets you find online will most likely in each of the categories have some kind of a percentage there. And those are rules of thumb for the greater populace of how much people should be allocating to those sections, and you shouldn't be going beyond. So for example, the consensus is generally between 30 and 35% for housing. If you're spending more of that on housing, including your first, second, taxes, etc., you're probably in more house than you can afford. And they have that in every section. Also, something pretty interesting when doing a budget, right off the bat, you'll probably be surprised by some areas right away. You know, when you're going through your banking statement and you see that you spent twice as much as you thought you did on restaurants in a month, well, right off the bat, you already have a pretty good idea on, well, my comfort zone was, I felt it was okay to spend 400 or whatever your number is. But seeing that you and your family are spending more than that might be a good place to really show on something you can dial back. So this part's pretty easy. There's going to be some homework. Unfortunately, ours is a PDF, so you're just using a pen and paper. So you'll need your calculator handy, and you'll need to total all the sections yourself as well. Also, if you want to see where you're at in range to national averages or advice on national averages, you'll need to divide whatever your total is into the total amount of your income and see where that percentage lies. This one won't do it. Some of the free Excel programs will, and obviously the apps will do things like this for you. So those are the main steps, right? Step one, what's your income? Step two, tracking all of your expenses, kind of the boring part. Then you go to the end after you've entered everything in here, and you'll put in your income again, right? This number will probably transpose for you. It did for me, your family income net. And then what you'll do is add up all those different categories. You'll need to do this yourself. The goal will be this number should equal this number, right? If your income is 10,000 and you're planning your budget for the next month, that should also be 10,000. There should not be a gap here. If they're not, you need to correct something. So in the first instance, let's say your budgeted expenses came up less than what your take-home pay is. In this case, $1,000 less. This means we have $1,000 we have to allocate somewhere. Now, obviously, you could just say, well, I felt like I wasn't being very accurate in one category, and you can increase those. But if you're using real numbers here, this shows an opportunity. This means you have $1,000 you have to put into another category. You know, I'm your retirement advisor, right? Or a part of a team that helps you save for retirement. You know, obviously, this could show an opportunity to start saving another $1,000 or part of $1,000 a month towards the company 401k or your IRAs or Roth IRAs, right? If you're looking at this debt section and you're just making minimum payments, right? This $1,000 came up will show extra money you have to start paying down debt. Again, for more information on that, hopefully you watched our other video on paying down debt. Or this $1,000 again could go towards other discretionary areas, right? Maybe you're like, I've been saving forever and I haven't seen a movie since 2015. Well, maybe put some money into the entertainment category. But no matter what, this shows an opportunity for savings or paying down debt or more discretionary spending. More likely though, and unfortunately I've had to say that a couple of times, your budget may look like this, where your expenses are higher than your take-home pay. And in that case, you have to do the same exact thing. These numbers need to be the same. So you need to go through this budget and figure out what needs to be cut or what needs to be brought down to get these things in line by $1,000. So in this case, maybe I have to start going to restaurants half as much. Maybe I don't have a lot of examples in mind, but maybe I need to cut the cable or one of my cable providers, etc. You have to go through this whole budget, and it has 10,000 has to equal 10,000, or whatever the family number is. Income has to equal expenses. It can't continue to be out of line, or something major will have to change. So that's the budget. I think this is a good example. I think starting with a PDF or a paper one is great, but there's obviously other options. Let's jump back to the presentation. So when looking at a budget, you're going to see a couple main things. Obviously, the biggest thing is you're going to see how much you spend above your income, possibly. And that's the first place you have to get. You have to see in dollars and cents how much you're spending versus how much you're making. Meaning, how much are you going into debt every month, possibly? Or how much do you have available to go into savings, like we just talked about? Also, a budget can really show you how much do you need to live on. And for me as a retirement advisor, that's really important, because now you see, oh, you know, I knew my income was this, but I never really knew how much I needed to just live on, to cover, you know, put a roof over my head, all those things. That's actually a needed input to figure out how much you need to save for retirement, because you don't know how much to save if you don't know how much you're going to need. So a budget can help with a lot of things. What's missing from the budget? Where could we cut back? Obviously, you're going to get it. You can look at the areas recommended by financial gurus like Dave Ramsey or whoever you're getting your PDF from, and that will be a good idea where to cut back. Also, just knowing yourself and seeing the things that kind of stood out to you as inappropriate will be a good way. Another way is to separate needs from wants, right? We all need housing. We need a roof over our heads. We need a place to go home at night. We need to be warm. We need to, or cool here in Arizona, right? You need to have those utilities. We need to be able to get to and from work. We need to, you know, be insured. So for unforeseen liabilities like life or disability, or probably more often not, you know, health insurance. But there's also, you'll see a delineation with the wants, right? We have the memberships that could be an area where you cut back on. Cable can really, you know, even if you cut the cord, those things are starting to add up again. Some other things that I did not list, I apologize, cutting back on pedicure, manicures, golfing, eating out, entertainment. Those are all obviously wants in areas that if your budget is not in line, you may want to look at cutting back on. What you don't know. Without doing a budget or taking the time to start doing a budget month to month, you will never know how much you have available to save, right? Right. The only way to know how much you have available to save, so we can put that away and let your money start working for you versus you working for your money, is to do a budget. You also probably don't know, you know, how much of your money is going out to pay for old debts, right? How much is going towards debt payments with minimum payments and things of that nature? And we talked about number 3 here, looking at where you're overspending. Most of us, what we think we're overspending on versus what we actually are, we probably don't have those numbers right. I think a paper budget's a good place to start. Some of you probably are more technology savvy. There's a lot of good options to go for apps. And the nice thing about budgeting apps is they will tie in to your savings institution or checking institution. So you can link your bank accounts and they will automatically categorize your spending into those major categories without you having to take the time every month in looking at what you spend. Same caveat goes here, just like with a paper budget, which will probably take a few months to kind of understand and get working right for you. All these apps have a major learning curve too. Don't think day one you're going to get a Mint account and get your financial life in order, right? You're going to have to really learn how that program works, like any new operating system, and maybe spend some time tweaking it, making sure the categories are lining up correctly with like how you would categorize your spending. Some of them are free, some of them have paid options, some will integrate with different banks, some won't, some will allow for export to Excel, which you might like I like, so you can actually play with things a little bit more. These are some of the big names: that Mint by Intuit, YNAB is a big one. Dave Ramsey has their own as well. So look at those as well if that's kind of the platform you would prefer, you're more comfortable with. So that's it for me today. And thanks for attending. I hope you learned something. I hope each and every one of you take the time to work on a budget, and it helps you see opportunities to get your financial house more in order, or make opportunities to, save more or pay down some debt. And I think it's really one of the first stepping stones for any of those processes. So thanks again. My information's on the screen. If you have any questions about this, investments or retirement savings, please reach out to us at info@arcwood.com and we can schedule a call. Thanks again. Bye.